Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Now, Mom, Light Gaming. My name is Kay, and this is a gameplay review of Cursed. As of right now, there are 552 reviews on this game, and they are mostly positive. Some information on Cursed is the life of the main female character and her fiancé Albert was wonderful and full of happiness. Indeed, it was, until Albert received a strange letter with a proposal of a profitable job far away from his home. Albert went away to work and there was no news for a long time, so the main female character, i.e. you, the player, put off on a long journey to look for her love mate without knowing what had happened to him and what kind of peril and danger waited for her. Dragons, phantoms, demons, and other creatures of beyond will be on your way. Will the true love overcome different difficulties and obstacles during the journey? This is a hidden object game, however, it's not like your normal hidden object games in the sense that there are scenes where you can have a list of items and search for them. There are no scenes like that, and I don't know why I stuttered like that, but yeah. So I was at first kind of hesitant to call it a hidden object game, but it technically is because there are still items in the environment that you have to find, and then you'll be using them on other locations in order to progress through the game. So it's just missing those main scenes where you have to find specific items. It doesn't really make or break the game. I was a little bit disappointed when there were none, because you go into these games thinking there will be some, but nope. This is also a fairly short hidden object game, maybe because there are no scenes like that, but if you know what you're doing, it's around 2 hours in length. If you don't know what you're doing, it could be like three hours, maybe four tops, unless you're really stuck on something. But I didn't find it a very difficult game. Dare I say it might be good for beginners of the hidden object games? As far as the achievements go, they are all storyline based. So as you progress through the game, you'll get each and every achievement, as long as you finish the game. So I won't really be pointing those out, because it's not needed. And while I normally don't call these gameplay reviews walkthroughs, because they're really not, I do point out where items are in this podcast episode. I feel like that's okay to do in hidden object games and maybe point and clicks. But for longer games like RPGs and stuff like that, I would not do a walkthrough for on a podcast. Without further ado, here's the gameplay review. First, the introduction scene.
We never value what we have until we lose it. My life with Albert was wonderful. Even though we were always short of money, we loved each other so much despite that. And our wedding day was near at hand. Nothing hinted at future calamity. Until Albert received a strange letter.
Darling, it's a job offer. It seems somehow related to restoring an ancient building. I'll have to leave you to travel to the site, but the customer is promising a prestigious sum of money. Enough for the most luxurious wedding, a mansion, and a carefree life for us together afterwards.
So apparently Albert didn't think the letter was strange at all, and the fact that he was getting so much money from this. Okay, sure, Albert. And we never value what we have until we lose it, which is true. Apparently she lost Albert. The voice acting is actually pretty good in this game, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really have anything to say about the animation quality of like the characters and their mouth movements. I have to disregard all that, because these games don't do very well with animating people and their mouth movements. It's just a thing with these games. They just want you to know the character is talking, basically. And while most characters in these games, they don't look bad, they're just not that great. So not gonna touch base on any of them. But when we're on the title screen, we get the name of the game, Cursed. Kind of a heart gem with wings. We have 2 wedding rings and a cobwebbed area. It kind of makes me feel like they haven't been worn in a while. Or maybe whatever this place is and whatever spiders made that web, they don't want them to be wet. That's what I get from that. Also moth fluttering around the flame. Overall, I wouldn't say it's a cursed vibe, but it is kind of creepy. Kind of creepy, kind of nobody's been here in a while sort of thing. Hit new game and we're hit with another little scene.
Ever since Albert left, I've had no news of him. I grew more and more worried about my beloved fiancé and set out to search for him, with only the return address on the envelope of that strange letter to guide me. That's how I reached the grim land of Campshire.
I wonder if the return address was there on purpose on the envelope to get her to go out there. Makes you wonder. Otherwise, she would never have been able to track him down, you know? Alright, and now we get into the whole gameplay portion here. When you click on something, there's normally something to say about it at the top of the screen. And these things don't disappear like quickly like some of the other hidden object games out there. They're so frustrating. It's like you didn't get to read all of it before it vanished. These little statements do stay on the screen for a while, I'm pretty sure, until you click out of them. The first 2 items you obtain by the lamppost is a butterfly as well as a glass shard. And at the gate, there are vines blocking, so use the glass shard to chop them away to reveal a padlock. Of course, these games are known for having many locked areas. This is the first one of this game. If you click on the shed, there is an outline for a butterfly, so set the butterfly in there and you'll get your first puzzle. This puzzle is pretty easy and it represents most of the other puzzles in this game. They're not always going to be like this one, of course, but they're not really hard to do at all. So in this one, you'll just be moving the gems up and down, sideways, until you can get the skull through to the opening. And it really doesn't take that long to do. After that, you can find a key in the shed, which you can use to open the padlock. Now in this game, when you do finish grabbing everything from an area, like a side area such as the shed right here, you can still go in here, even though there's nothing else to grab. So it's not one of those games that'll lock you out of a specific area once you're done with them. You are free to come back, backtrack, roam around, even though there's not going to be anything there for you. Once we open the gate, we get a short little scene.
Leave this cursed place. You can still go back.
No. Whatever it is, I won't retreat.
She is a stronger woman than I. I would be like, okay, I'm leaving. Like, Albert is not worth this. You got a freaking sign over here with bloody handprints on it? Heck no. In the next area, you can click on a statue on the right and grab a harpoon. And when we go to the right, there's some kind of tentacle monster coming out of a lake. We can head over there and look at it and just like, it's this monstrosity. It looks like, I don't know, an octopus that died and is rotting and was reanimated into this horrific thing. I don't know, you would think as soon as you click on this and see it, she would say something about it, but she doesn't. I think you had to actually click on the monster maybe. Or even then, she might not say anything. It's really odd. At the mansion, you can speak with a girl. She is rather creepy, as all children are in games.
Find the book in the house. Hurry, before it's too late.
If you click on the water fountain, you will find an axe shaft beside a chest that you can't open because it needs a symbol with a bat on it. A bat symbol. Speaking of which, there are bats hovering around. This is kind of interesting because we've seen so far bats and wolves that are blocking an area, which are two actual like animals that are out there. However, then you have the tentacle monster in the water, which doesn't seem like an actual animal, but maybe it is an octopus that's dead and rotting and reanimated, like I said. But if not, then it's weird that they chose to use normal creatures as well as not mythological, just strange creatures that don't really exist. Like monsters, just basically just monsters. I mean, clearly the bats are demonic. And they got red eyes and ratty, tattered wings they're flying on. But the wolves are pretty normal. So I don't know if there was really any logic to which creatures they used for guarding these areas. Or if they're like, oh, this creature would be cool to guard this. And yeah. But once we have the axe shaft, we can go back to the beginning where an axe head is stuck in a log. Connect those two and you get a rusty axe. The rusty axe will be used to chop the boards that are on the mansion door. And unlike a lot of hidden object games out there where you use an item, some of these items do not disappear after use. So which means you will be using them later, which is actually really nice. You don't have to like lose the axe and suddenly need another axe when the time comes. This is one of the first things I complain about in this game because it was kind of a problem all throughout. When you've used an item or picked one up from your inventory and you want to get rid of it, usually, you click it off to the side and it goes back into your inventory. Not with this game. I don't know what you have to do in this game. Maybe you right click and not left click. But I had some trouble with this first one, the axe. I was kind of like trying to get it off my screen and I went into different areas. I'm clicking on things. Just trying to use the axe on certain areas, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to get it out of my hands. So that was one of the first troublesome things that I ran into, and it was kind of throughout the game. Inside, you get a small scene with a ghost.
The book you are looking for is hidden behind the portrait in the library.
They seem to be helping us out, so not everything is out here to harm us. Mainly just the monsters are. If you try to turn right up the steps, you'll be blocked by a skeleton wall. Skeletal wall? There's not actually skeletons blocking it, but it's a really cool graphic of skulls just providing a barrier, kind of like a hologram type of thing. So you can't go past this. You have to get rid of it first. And there are multiple areas where you'll come across a wall like this. I think it looks pretty cool, honestly. That's a nice way to block our access to different places instead of putting a locked door there, In the dining hall, you can click on the cabinet and open a mask in order to get a key. You can then use the key on the door to the right before the dining hall. And here, the first shelf on the right will grant you spades and a wire. The second shelf will give you lion head handle. The shelf on the far left will give you a magnet, which automatically fuses with the wire. So you don't actually have to combine items in this game. They will do that for you. Then the shelf to the right of the painting is where a crab is in a jar, and use the magnet to pull the little skull out, which can then be placed on the portrait, but you'll need 2 more skulls. Whew. In the dining hall, which is, it actually calls it the laboratory. I think it's more of a dining hall, because that's definitely a dining table. It doesn't look like a laboratory at all, despite there being just vials on the table. Am I wrong in thinking that? Anyway, there's a cabinet on the left where you'll be placing the lion head handle. You can then grab the knight figurine. And in the previous area, you can click on the clock, place the knight figurine where it needs to go on the right side, and you'll get your second puzzle. I cannot really explain how to do this puzzle properly. It's all a matter of lining up the hands to go with their specific outlines. These kinds of puzzles kind of hurt my brain to figure out, and it's a matter of clicking. Just constantly clicking to see if I can get it right. But like the first puzzle, it's not difficult. It's just a bit more time consuming to figure it out. Once you get it right, you can pick up a skull. And if we head back to where the second floor stairs are, there's a box on the right with a spade outline, and you can place a spade in it in order to get another skull. So head back to the painting and put the two skulls that you found on it, and click the skulls in the correct order, which you'll just have to figure out on your own. But it's gray, green, red, blue. Inside is a book you can click on for a short scene.
These ancient pages hold the history of building a magic gate that led to the Netherworld. In olden days, powerful sorcerers used this gate to summon demons to our world and fulfill the sorcerer's wishes. Activating the gate created great danger, for the two worlds could easily become one, and then the malevolent demons would get loose and destroy mankind. Centuries later, mysterious knowledge keepers came to the conclusion that the gate was perilous to exist. They used special magic from the amulets of the elements to obliterate all the gates along with all the written records of the dangerous occult practice. Except for this book, which they somehow missed.
After the scene, you can acquire an ancient symbol, and that's it. You can't pick up the figurine there, you can't pick up the book. But again, you can keep going to this place, even though you can't do anything with anything. Even further along the game, it's an area that you can look at. You can think that there might be something in here to grab at a later time, but it's not true. Take the ancient symbol to the main hall that connects the second story and open a cabinet with it, where you'll need to place the harpoon into the gun for a harpoon gun. Like I said before, this is not a game where you can combine items in your inventory, so you can't pick up the gun until you make it whole. And that's going to be the same thing with some of the other items in this game. You might think you'll be able to pick it up, but it might require something, and so you can't pick it up. A little annoying, but it is what it is. The harpoon gun will be used on the undead octopus, so its tentacles will no longer be in your way. Proceed forward and grab the pickaxe that's on the right, kind of covered in leaves, and then go forward again for another scene.
Be careful. The way is guarded by extremely powerful gatekeepers, dangerous dragons. You cannot pass by them without one of the magical amulets of the elements. The 4 central parts of the amulet will destroy the gatekeepers one by one.
Wait, what's going on here?
So another ghost that's trying to help us out. What if they know why we're here? Or if they're trying to make it so we get out alive, unlike the rest of them. Where the dragons are, you'll pick up the obvious stick with a hook. Go back one and use stick with a hook on the oil lamp at the top. I got a little stuck on this part, but I missed something at the dragon gate. I knew I had to do something with that star symbol, but I didn't recognize the fact that I had a pickaxe in my inventory. So just use the pickaxe against the star symbol, then use the oil lamp inside the dark area and pick up part of the amulet, as well as a gun. You'll be using the gun on the bat. Proceed forward and there is a bag on the right where you can grab a lightning bolt pendant. And this is how simple this game is. There is a sack here and it is not tied. So you do not need anything in order to untie it, and you do not need anything in order to cut it open. To see what the contents are, you can just open it automatically here and get an oil can So I'd say just based on that alone, this is a pretty good hidden object game for beginners. But also, beginners go into a hidden object game with this one, they won't be expecting scenes where you actually had to find items specifically listed. So I don't know if this is lowering expectations too much for a hidden object game. We make a right here. The creepy little girl says he hid a part of it in the center of the fountain. We cannot get to the center of the fountain though at the moment. So just click on it for a bat figurine, not an actual bat. Go back an area to where the chest was by the empty fountain and place the bat symbol on the chest to get regulating wheel. Return to the fountain and first off use the oil can that we have on the wheel to the left and then place the regulating wheel that we just got on the right stand. Interact with both of those and the spraying water will turn off and you can grab meat. Now this is another thing. It's a mutated snake. So okay, there's obviously mutated monsters in this game. We got the octopus, seemingly undead. We got the bats, seemingly demonic. We got the snake, obviously also demonic, because no snake in real life looks like that. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not sorry. I guess it's a good thing no snake in real life looks like that. That's horrifying. But then you got the freaking wolves, who are just normal wolves. So why are these animals mutated, but the wolves aren't? Did they think the wolves are scary enough, just being normal wolves? I don't get it. Speaking of wolves, return back to the wolves and give them the meat for them to run off with it. And then take the path to the left. If you click on the wagon, I would like to state that I'm sorry. I spoke too soon when it came to the sack. Here is a sack where you clearly have to open it with an item. And we don't have the item quite yet, but you know, these things are still here. They're still around. That one sack was just a fluke, I guess. Click on the tower and we can get a spade, which is a shovel. We already had a spade before. We fit it into a little icon lock. And if you click on the chest in the right, you can open it for a lever. Go back to the three-way intersection and click on the little hole to the right and use your spade in it. You'll find part of the gold disc. So return back to the tower, interact with the door, and place that where it needs to go. This is your third puzzle, and it's just a matter of dragging the iron rods out in a specific order, because some of them are locked against one another. So it's middle left, top right, bottom left, middle right. Go through the doorway, and on the left is a ladder. I don't like the fact that this ladder is here because it doesn't look like something that you can grab. It's behind the beams against the wall, and it's, I don't know, if I wasn't clicking everywhere, I probably wouldn't have went for it. Up the steps, interact with the main cabinets right ahead of you in order to get a potion ingredient, as well as emerald jewelry behind a cabinet. And it doesn't look like an area that you can interact with at all, but if you click on the left, somewhere between the angel statue, I think, and the wooden walls, there's an area there where you can take a knife. So back it up to where the sack was and then use the knife. Ironically, the knife does not cut open where the stitched part is. It cuts open lower down where everything can just spill out. I don't really understand that. We can get a gear wheel and a grindstone. Head back into the tower at the top. Take the grindstone and place it where it needs to go. And then we can use our rusty axe on it in order to get a sharp axe. Head back to the three-way intersection and click on the statue on the right and use the emerald jewelry on his chest. This will get you an ancient vessel. Return to the tower up to the very top and interact with the cabinet on the right in order to put the ancient vessel into its slot. You can click the red button until you get a snowflake design, which will tell you the symbols you'll need to create it. And there are wires connecting each symbol. So you'll need to put the appropriate ingredient that matches what the symbol is in the correct order. So our green flask will actually go on the first slot. I had a bit of trouble placing this potion ingredient down. I was clicking everywhere to try and figure out where to put it down. Maybe I didn't put it in the correct slot at first, because I was thinking they go on the bottom, but no, they're supposed to sit on the top slot, like the middle section. But I just kept spam clicking and it wouldn't put it anywhere, so it's a little confusing right here. At this point, I did get a bit lost again. Before it was kind of like obvious, my fault, because the star symbol needed to be blasted through with a pickaxe, and that was obvious. I just missed it. But I was trying to use the axe on the thorny bushes to the left of the statues of the electrified men, and it wouldn't let me, which is really weird that an axe can't chop down brambles like that, because I'm pretty sure they can. So we do need another item for this area. But we do have a lightning bolt pendant, which can be placed on the chest of the statue on the right. That clearly doesn't do anything though, because we need both pendants for both statues. So I had to kind of wander around again, figure out what I was doing. This is the moment where I did a lot of backtracking and figured out that everything that you've done beforehand, it's done. It's complete. You don't need to go back to these beginning areas. This is not a classic hidden object game where there are scenes that randomly pop up in different areas that you've already visited. This is kind of a, okay, you've done everything in this area, you don't need to return to it, even though you can. While scrounging around for something to do, I did go back to the top of the tower, interact with the cabinet on the right, and we do have a lever that we can place on the cross symbol beside the gear. This is also where I placed the potion ingredient that I couldn't do before because I didn't click on the right area. And when you interact with the lever, the gear actually breaks, which is fine because we have a gear of our own. So just replace it with the gear that we have. At this point, there's nothing else to do because we don't have the other two ingredients. Now's the point where I really was confused because I had no idea what to do with any of these items. I can't go anywhere to get any new items, so I had to use a hint. It turns out at the top of the tower, there is a crack in the floor that you can click on. Literally would have never seen that. Ever. Would have never ever seen that. So if you look down in that, you can use the sharp axe to bust it open some more, grab a rattle and part of the amulet. At this point, it will take you to the amulet screen where you have a rough sketch of it. Place the pieces of the amulet down and put them where they belong by following the sketch. And that's really all you had to do. You had to find 9 more pieces. But the full body of it is already done. Back to the hole in the floor, we get a potion ingredient. This one will be going on the far right. Now we can go outside and use the rattle on the bird so it can fly away. Use the ladder to get up to the bird's nest and grab ruby encrusted heart. We're going to use this heart on the chest on the stairs of the tower for a letter and a scene.
My dearest, I have reached my destination safely at last, and I hasten to inform you that I'm in good health, apart from missing you terribly. When I arrived here, I was met by the steward of Justin Ulridge's estate, a suspiciously silent and gloomy type. He did not even deign to share his name with me. To speak frankly, I am eager to leave this place immediately and forget about my odd journey here. But I have been enticed into remaining by the tidy sum promised me in exchange for the work I shall do here. Money that we so need for our wedding and our happy future life together. However, perhaps I'm merely laying the dark and distinctly odd surroundings weigh on my spirits. The steward has promised to send this letter to you immediately. Please respond post-haste. I greatly desire your opinion and await your speedy reply. With all my love, your Albert.
This is a letter from Albert. At least now I'm sure he was here.
This then gives you the final potion ingredients, which you'll place in the middle section of the alchemical concoction thing. Interact with the lever, take the flask, and check out another scene.
Go to the fountain. As soon as you find a part of the amulet, one of the gatekeepers will lose its power.
We didn't even need to use that hint button for that. He just told us to go to the fountain. This will also give us the freeze potion, which is why we're going to the fountain in the first place, to freeze the water. Go to the statue in the center, and of all things, use the oil lamp on it in order to melt the ice. Click on its tail and use the knife on it. This will give you a lightning bolt pendant. Return to where the electrified statues are and use the pendant on the left side to be able to get through it. Interact with the rock on the left, use the pickaxe on it, and take the lever. You can go into the gazebo, but you'll be introduced to some plants that are from Jumanji. Again, mutations, despite the wolves not being mutated. I don't know how they survived that shit, but there's nothing to do here, so back out and return to the statue in the middle of the fountain, where you will use the star lever on its body in order to open its mouth and get part of the amulet. With this amulet screen, it's kind of annoying how you can take a part of the amulet from your inventory, and if you move it over to where it needs to go, where it needs to be connected, it'll just throw the piece to the side of the screen. Like, okay, here you go. Here's the amulet. Try to find where it belongs to, and it's like, I already clicked where it needs to go. Why does the amulet pieces just fall to the sides? What's the point of that? I have to click and move it twice now. Ugh. This will give you a small scene where a dragon is deactivated, and the wall of skulls disappears. So now we know how to get past these holographic barriers. We have to destroy the different dragons in order to get rid of them, and in order to destroy the dragons, we have to connect the amulet. So at this point, we're going to backtrack a little bit and go up the steps of the mansion.
Don't be afraid. I will not harm you. It is I, your Justin. Don't you recognize me, Vilhari?
What did you call me? That's not my name. You've mistaken me for someone else. I don't understand a single thing you are saying. Who are you? And what has transpired here?
You don't remember anything. I, alone, am the guilty author of your evil fate. Everything could have been quite different from what it is now, had I not been so thoughtless all those many years ago. But what is done, and cannot be undone. And everything that has transpired here is my fault.
I simply want to find my fiancé, Albert. What happened to him? Have you seen him?
You cannot help Albert without bringing harm upon yourself. I implore you, you must go as far away as you can, right away. And please, oh please, forgive me, Vilhari.
Apparently this game is about a mistaken identity. We're supposed to be Vilhari. Clearly we're not Vilhari, so maybe we're just like the reincarnated version of her and we just don't know it. Or maybe Justin is just confused. Thinks we are Vilhari since we look like her? Either way, click on the armored guard and open his satchel with a knife or dragon head. Click on the large painting right in front of you. Pull down the left side for sword hilt. In the next room, there is a cave-in on the floor, so you can't access the other side of it. Instead, click the statue on the left and place the dragon head where it belongs. interact with it, and the dragon will melt the candles in order for you to grab the crown. Backtrack to the staircase where there is a cabinet with a crown symbol on it where you will place it, and grab the saw. No, the saw does not take down the brambles, nor does it kill the vines. Instead, we're going to use the saw on the giant pole on the right side of the room where there's a gap in the floor. We can then click on the other side for a scene.
His lordship is wrong, actually, Miss Velhari. You do indeed have the power to help yourself and your Albert, and all of us. Justin Aldridge fears the fate that awaits you, as he loves you dearly. It disturbs him to see the strength and bravery dwelling in your heart. But you shall overcome every difficulty you encounter. Be steadfast and proceed forthwith.
Alright, touch the painting and put the sword hilt on it. Then grab part of the amulet. Set it where it needs to go. We have 7 more left. Then take the silver rose. There is another painting you can click on the right side of the wall. Place the silver rose on that. Then take the feather. Back one area, click the painting to the left of the suit of armor and place the feather in there. To take Lily with a garnet. Place this on the suit of armor on his hand, and he will let go of the halberd. Return to where the vines are and use the halberd on them. Then move forward for a scene.
Your lord said that everything that has happened here is his fault. What did he mean?
200 years ago, his lordship adored his beautiful wife and fulfilled her every wish up to the final day of her all too brief life. But when she died, death stole not only Mrs. Aldridge, but also our Lord's reason and his very soul. Grief-stricken, he ceased sleeping, incessantly poring over a set of ancient volumes, obsessed by the idea of bringing his beloved spouse back into the world of the living. He ignored his own needs and mistreated his servants. Sadly, in one of his ancient tomes, his lordship read how to create gates to the beyond. He built these gates, using them to summon a demon to our world, and then conclude a dire agreement with that terrible creature. Yet, the agreement didn't help our Lord achieve his dream. Instead, it only brought horror and destruction.
I know at this point there is a bit of backtracking going on, and I noticed in the comments there was a negative review saying this does have a bit of backtracking, but I don't think this does. I have played Hidden Object games where you have to go back to the very beginning after getting super far in the game in order to proceed forward by interacting with an item that you couldn't get before, or something like that. This doesn't really constitute as backtracking for me. You have 2 different areas now. The upstairs of the mansion, as well as the wood area here. So again, the beginning area, you don't mess with. Aside from the fact that there are brambles that you still need to get through. That's the only place. So it's not a lot of backtracking, people. You negative reviewers. I have played Hidden Object games where backtracking sucks. Head to the area on the far right of the wagon scene and click on the rocking horse for a key. Now check out the tunnel beneath the bridge for a crowbar. No, you can't use the crowbar on the bars. Back at the scene with the wagon, check out the suitcase and use the key on the lock. This will give you acid as well as hook. Take the center path, interact with the well, and use the crowbar to get rid of the nails. You can then attach the hook to the chain, interact with it, and it will pull up a metal cross. Interact with the bucket just to get rid of it. And then backtrack to the rocking horse area and interact with the door where you'll place the middle cross on it in order to complete a fourth puzzle. This one is actually a puzzle. And it's super easy. You don't have to move one piece next to the piece next to it in order to switch them or anything. Just pick up a piece and place it where you think it should go and complete the picture. That's all you gotta do. There's nothing insane to it, no thinking to it, just complete the image. Once you complete it, head inside and take the wolf head on the right. Now go back to underneath the bridge and use the acid on the bars to grab an eye. Back to the wagon, place the wolf's head on there, look inside, and take magic torch. The magic torch is going to be used inside the dungeon area to replace the one that's broken on the wall. This is kind of the fifth puzzle, right? I just did the fourth one, right? So you have a wall of symbols beside the torch, right side, and you need to click the symbols on all these other walls in the correct order the symbols are shown. So M, triangle, square, W, 0, and X. The M is on the bottom of the left side wall, and the triangle is on the top of the left side wall. You'll be going into the next area and clicking on the center symbol on the right side. Go further down, click the W at the top, and then the 0 at the bottom. Backtrack 1, and click the X on the bottom left. This will open a hidden compartment where you can click on the letter for a scene.
My dear sweetheart and wife-to-be, I'm quite concerned as I've not received any reply from you. Is it that you don't share my strong sense of apprehension and therefore have delayed responding? Even were this to be so, I desperately need your assurance and moral support. I am increasingly suspicious every day, particularly since the estate's so-called steward has told me that I will only be able to see the structure I must restore, some kind of gate allegedly, after I sign a contract. This all seems quite untoward, so much so that I'm prepared to reject his profitable offer and hasten back to your side. Faithfully yours, Albert.
And then take the other eye. You're going to place these eyes on the skull at the bottom of the dungeon. Pick up the helmet on the right. Backtrack to where the well was and place the helmet on the hook in order to get some water. Use the helmet filled with water on the lava below the skull. Use the pickaxe on the stone and then take part of the amulet. Place it where it needs to go. And the second dragon is destroyed, allowing you to go through the gate. So backtrack to the well and go through the gate. Oh look, there's a snake. A somewhat normal looking snake. I mean, sure, it's got red glowing eyes, but still. Basically a normal snake, unlike the one that was in the little pond area. Take the path to the right, click on the middle tombstone area and take dust brush. Go to where the tree is and use your axe on the branches on the plated symbol. Back to where the snake is, use the dust brush on the cobwebs on the left stone, broken stone. This will give you an amulet. Take this amulet and use it where you cleared out the branches from the stone. You can grab a sickle and reanimate a skeleton, apparently. Who really wants a sickle back? Now we can finally get rid of the brambles that have been blocking our forward progress for a while now. So do that, take that path, interact with a little box on the wall, turn the key in order to break it, interact with the box on the porch steps, use the crowbar and the nails, and pick up a glove. Turn the handle of the box, and you can also take pliers. Use the pliers on the broken key to open the box and look at a book for a scene.
This book describes the rite of repose for the living dead. Into the center of a pentagram, you must place a scorpion, a fresh flower, and a chalice made of a human skull that has been filled with the blood of an arboreal goblin.
You now know what you need in order to complete the ritual. And you can also pick up a face. Use the face on the door, For a 6th puzzle, and all you gotta do is rotate the face in the center until they are properly aligned with the pieces at the outer edges, and connect the pieces of the outer edges with the face in the middle. Seriously though, why can't all hidden object games puzzles be this simple? I mean, a challenge is nice every now and then, but some of the hidden object games out there, their puzzles are stupid insane. Behind the door, you'll be clicking on every single piece of fresco you can find, which are 10 of them. After you find all of those, place them on the wall on the right. You can then pick up a goblet in the center, as well as click on the broken wall to reveal something you'll need to find. Outside, there is another broken wall that you can click on, or here you can use the glove in order to grab the scorpion, as well as the metal fish. Take the metal fish to the inside wall, where it belongs, for a scene.
It's the agreement Justin Aldrich made with the demon. According to this agreement, the demon is obliged to bring Aldrich's deceased wife back to him as soon as he has modified the gates. Aldrich originally designed these gates in such a manner that only one creature can walk through them, and only once. If the gates are modified as the demon has set forth in the agreement, these restrictions shall be removed. Justin Aldrich changed the whole world for one life, that of his wife.
Now grab the flute. The flute can be used on the snake in order to put it to sleep, because that's apparently how that works. Proceed forward and click on the crypt on the left to grab wire cutters. You can click on the hole in the tree and you will find the arboreal goblin that you'll need blood for, but you can't do anything with him yet. Instead, click on the door and use wire cutters on the chain. I don't know how that works. Like, they are wire cutters. This is a chain blocking access to a door. Inside, click on the figurine and take the horse head. Backtrack to where you cleared the cobwebs and use the horse head on the box to click on the book for a scene.
I am the unhappy and eternally cursed Justin Aldrich. This is my diary and my confession. Having lost my reason due to the death of my beloved wife, I entered into an infernal agreement with a demon. At the time, it seemed perfectly natural to me. Only many years later did I understand how monstrous my deed was. In spite of my naive expectations, the rites for modifying the gates take centuries. Thus, the demon has prolonged my mortal life by turning me into a dreadful creature from beyond, so that I can live up to the end of the bargain. Yet, when I have finally fulfilled my part of the agreement and see my beloved wife again, what life shall we be able to enjoy together in a world turning into a burning hell, step by step? Will she recognize me? I, who became a dreaded monster, and who will be guilty of all the world's future suffering? Will she love me as she did before? No.
Take the screwdriver. Go the path on the right to the middle tombstone and use the screwdriver on the rip screws. This will give you Silver Moon and part of the amulet. Back inside the crypt, click on the left side silver sun symbol and use the moon on it. There's a crossbow, but you don't have anything to use the crossbow with. You don't have an arrow for it, so you can't take it. Instead, go back to the area where you awoke the skeleton guard and use pliers on the tree branch that has the arrow in it. Use this arrow to knock up the crossbow. Take the crossbow to the knot in the tree and shoot the goblin. You can then use the goblet to catch the goblin's blood for a bowl full of blood. And you can take the gold sun. Use the gold sun inside the crypt on the right side where the gold moon is and take potion. This potion will be used on the rose of the statue where you can then cut it off for a natural rose. And at this point, you can go back to the ritual circle and place the goblet, the rose, and the scorpion down. This will kill the skeleton for good and give you part of the amulet. Now the third dragon is dead, meaning you can go to the next area. The next free area is where the cracks in the walls were. Go through there, and I feel like this area has a lot more to do than the other areas, I feel like. Because you got the cat stuck in a boat. You got a crate to open. You have a handprint to find. You have a boat to fix. You have a harp to find. You have a snakehead to find. You have a cross symbol to find. You have a window you can get up to. There's something with oil. There's 2 statues and a door you can't get through. There's so many things to do in this section. It doesn't seem like there were this many things to do before, where you couldn't really find an item right off the bat. Obviously, you're going to be taking the fishing rod by the tar bucket, and you're going to go to the boat and fish up the fish. Go back to where the cat is, trapped in the boat, use the axe on it, and give the fish to the cat. You'll then get grapnel as well as snakehead. Use the snakehead on the imprint area of the house for your, oh my god, where are we at? 6th puzzle? Are we at the 6th one? I hate these puzzles because I can never figure them out. I just move the ends wherever I can. And basically you want all the threads to be yellow and not orange. If they're orange, it means they're crossing where they shouldn't cross. So once you've maneuvered them to where they need to be, you can go inside the doorway. Click on the armor in the left case and take valve. Now click on the pipe in the bottom left and use the valve on it. Now interact with the armor case on the right and take Lear. Place the Lear on the icon that is on the statue to the left outside the house. This will give you part of the amulet, as well as a part of clock face. Go into the dungeon, place the part of the clock face onto the large wheel, interact with the opening, and take hand. Backtrack to where the boat is, the chest, and place the hand where it needs to go, where you can grab a spider and then watch a cutscene.
My dear fiancé, I awaited your reply for a long time, but my patience was in vain. Finally, lacking any word from you, I decided to leave Mr. Aldridge's estate. As soon as the steward learned of my decision, he doubled my fee, showing me the cash and assuring me that I would receive the entire sum as soon as I had signed the contract to restore the mysterious structure. It was a huge sum and will guarantee a comfortable life for not only us, but also for our children. This time, I could no longer refuse such an offer, although my soul yearned to leave this dismal place for your embrace. Your future husband, Albert.
Take the duster sprayer. In the dungeon, you can place the spider on the suit of armor to the right. Grab the medallion. Where the 2 busts are, place the medallion around one's neck. That's really all you can do with that one at the moment. Back at the start, use the duster sprayer on the ants, and then cut the rope with the knife. Inside you can find a statuette and diadem. On top of the crate is a rope that will automatically attach to the hook that you have, the grapple, for a grappling hook. So go back to the bust and place the diadem on their head. Back out and use the grappling hook up on the window of the house. Take the key. On the locked door, use the key to open it. Head inside and take the handle as well as brush. There's also a sail on the right. At the top window, use the handle on the missing latch. Open it and take both the shield and blacksmith's tongs. In the dungeon, click on the glowing blue in the wall and use the tongs to get sword. Return to the 2 busts and place the sword in the scabbard of one as well as the shield. This will open the doorway, but before we do that, click on the barrel and use the brush or brush with tar. Now inside the doorway, is a small scene.
Your Albert isn't dead yet. He has just signed an agreement like all of us. Everyone you've seen here has made a deal with a demon. I'm not the only one.
Click the chest and take the needle and thread of all things. Now on the table, click the letter for another scene.
Albert's agreement. Albert may not leave the country seat until he has finished restoring the gates. My Albert had no idea what would happen when his work was completed, thereby returning Aldrich's wife to him and starting the process of fusing the two worlds together.
You can also take part of the amulet, which means the final dragon is destroyed. Return to the boat, place the sail in the center, and then use the brush with tar on the leak on the side of the boat. Next up, needle and thread the ripped sail and head to the island. This vortex reminds me of Final Fantasy IX, I think it is. That desert area with Freya, with the sandstorm constantly going around. That's what this reminds me of. On the podium to the right, you can take flour. Return to the shed of the house, where there is a flower emblem on a box, and take statuette. Inside the dungeon, interact with the lower section and place the two statuettes on the pedestals. And what you're going to do here is put them in order as to what the wheel shows. So skull, lightning bolt, axe, crystal, spade, clubs, yin yang, and wing. And you're just gonna swap these statues in order to put them in that order. Super simple. Once complete, the whirlwind will disappear. This next section was a little bit weird for me. There's really nothing to pinpoint what you need to do, because you can't get to the mansion. And the only thing you can interact with here is a podium. What you need to do is interact with the podium, and when you move the gem, you'll place the knife in there to keep it on the far right. And by doing so, the bridge forms. So now you can go to the mansion and click on the large flower pot and take the mounted jewel. Go back to the podium, place the mounted jewel in, and move it to the right. Interact with the box, and take swallow, as well as large gear wheel. Now return to the mansion and place the swallow into the icon. And this is a match 3 game. The 7th one. I'm so sorry, I can't remember how many puzzles are going on. This game doesn't have a lot of puzzles, I feel like, but I just lose track of all of them. So instead of matching 2 icons, you're going to have to find 3 of each. And once you find 3 of each, they'll stay shown on the board. My memory sucks, so this kind of sucked for me. Maybe you'll do better. Enter the house for a scene.
Velhari, I have been waiting for you.
I'm not Velhari. You've mistaken me for someone else. Why does everyone call me by this strange name? Who are you?
Velhari, you must surely be aware of me and my ambitious plans. I am a demon who came into this world through the gates your husband built for your sake. Surprised? I brought you back from the world of the dead and gave you a second life. And you will spend it living with Justin Aldrich, the man who loves you so much. This is a clause in my agreement with him.
Set Albert free.
Certainly, but only after the gates begin to operate and my demon brethren enter this boring world for a spot of infernal mischief. Have you read the agreement signed by your Albert? Yes, you have. Good girl.
What do you want from me?
You shall sign an agreement, according to which you will voluntarily spend the remainder of your worthless life with the half-corpse Aldrich. In exchange, I will set your Albert free. I will implement all 3 agreements simultaneously, with your former husband Justin, your current fiancé Albert, and you, Velhari. You will return to Justin. Once the gate starts to operate, they will fuse our worlds together permanently,
and Albert will return home with a tidy sum. Everyone will be happy. On the other hand, what's the use of money in the hell that I shall create here on Earth? However, that's not important anymore, to you nor to anyone else. Sign the agreement. My brethren and I grant you full immunity from our predations, unlike the rest of mankind. What's happening?
No! Justin! What are you doing? Do you not want to get your Valhari back?
Well, looks like we've met our demon, right? Take the mirror that's sitting on the left side, then go upstairs for another scene.
Justin, what has happened? Where's the demon?
I cast the spell. Unfortunately, it cannot destroy the demon, nor neutralize him, but it can restrain him for a short while. Take this opportunity and destroy the gates.
Interact with the cage on the table for this horrifying rabbit monstrosity and take the bee. Next, click on the window and take the wrench. You can place the window on the wall to the left side, and then we're going to go back to the staircase and enter the room on the bottom right. It's not very visible. It's really, you can just miss it because it's right by the downward back arrow. Apparently there's something living in the walls that's just grabbed this mechanism, but we don't say anything about the arms. We say that it's a strange mechanism. I don't know why she's worried about the mechanism, not the thing that's holding on to it. Look at the box on the table and place the bee on the icon to get a mask. You can also take the brush. Interact with the wardrobe to take a crystal. Now go back upstairs and click on the window to put the crystal in the pendant. Go outside and fit the frowny face into the icon slot. Use the screwdriver on the screws. And I was a little confused on what to do at this point because I've got all the items I can get and I don't know what to do with items I have. And the thing that you do next is a little not right. You go to the window and you brush it clean. Who uses a brush to clean a window? Why don't we get a cloth? You know, in every other hidden object game, it's always a cloth that you have to dampen in order to clean a mirror surface or something like that. But a brush, that makes no sense whatsoever. I will say, of all the games that have items that don't make sense on what you do, this one is not like those. There's been, what, 2 items maybe that are just like a little bit out there and what you need to do with them? Other games, it's every single item. You're like, what the fuck? How does that even work? But this game's pretty good on knowing what to use where. Once the creature is destroyed, take the mask and the cage as well as part of the amulet. Go outside and place the happy face in the little icon slot. Use the wrench on the nut. Click on the small gear wheel in order to take it off, and then replace it with the large gear wheel. Now go on the other side and put the small gear wheel on there. This will retract the creature's arms. So you can go to the bottom room again, look into the safe, and grab part of the amulet. So the amulet is now complete. Since the dragons are gone, we are going to go through that gate that's now open to us. We're going to click on the middle pedestal and then place the amulet on there. And this is kind of like Sudoku. So if you're not familiar with Sudoku, you need to place the symbols in a way where every 4 spaces in an area has each symbol in them, and a symbol cannot be on the same horizontal line or vertical line. After you've done that, the portal will be destroyed. And that is the end of the game Cursed.
Valhari. You destroyed the evil I summoned and saved my miserable soul, just as you once enlivened my life and filled it with happiness. I will always love you, but I do not dare to hope that you can reciprocate the emotions of such a dread monster as I. Forgive me if you can, my love.
I do understand you. You did everything for the sake of love.
During my centuries of unnatural existence, I came to understand that I could not build my personal happiness upon the ruins of this world by sacrificing millions of human lives and destining them to a life of suffering. Can you find it in your heart to forgive me, even now?
Yes, Justin. I do forgive you. Albert?
At this point, you should have all the achievements because you just completed the game. There are no extra achievements here. To go over the pros and cons. So one of the pros is the game's fairly short. Even if you don't know what you're doing and you get stuck in an area, the game is still short. Any hog game that's kind of like less than 5 hours, I consider short because some games go up to 8 to 10 hours. And plus, it doesn't have a bonus chapter to it, so that makes it even shorter, unlike some of the other ones. The puzzles were relatively easy, all of them. They really didn't need any instructions to them, and I don't think any of them had instructions to them, quite honestly, which is a little weird. Yeah, looking back on the Sudoku puzzle thing, it doesn't have any instructions. So maybe that might be a con for some people, but maybe the puzzles were just easy enough that they didn't think that they would need instructions. And plus there weren't very many puzzles to this game, considering how it was short. I didn't say anything about it, but the items that we get, I really like the art style of them. Like the white outline of it. Something about white outlines of icons that's really pleasing to look at. Maybe it's just because they look so clean. That's definitely a personal preference for a pro. The voice acting was pretty good. Everything basically made sense in what you needed to do, and there was hardly any backtracking. I know I use the word backtrack a lot, but really you weren't backtracking all that much. Just because you find an item doesn't mean that item is going to be in the scene that you're standing in where you found it. You will need to maneuver around a little bit in the scenes. But it's not like you're at the very end of the game and you have to remember this one little thing that you forgot to do at the very beginning of the game that you'll never remember. If I were to talk about some cons, one of them would be the fact that there were no hidden object scenes. You know, we get so used to those in hidden object games that not having them is kind of like, really? It's like it missed the mark almost. And then there's the fact that when you pick up an item, sometimes you can't let go of it. It's so annoying because you're trying to get it off the screen and you keep clicking on different things. And it's like, no, I can't interact with that. Like, well, no, I don't want you to interact with that. I want you to drop this goddamn item. Because most time when you pick up an item in a hidden object game in your inventory and you click on something that you want to use it on, it automatically goes back to your inventory if you can't use it. And that's not the case with this game. With this game, you have to manually get rid of the item that you're holding. That's really all I can think about with the pros and cons, honestly. But I thought it was a pretty good game. Overall. There was maybe 2 things that I couldn't figure out. Before we end this podcast, here's a reminder that our Patreon does offer perks for this channel, including early access to videos before they go out to the public on YouTube. Full Not Safe for Work podcast episodes are available on YouTube, and your username in both the intro and outro screen as well as video description. If you want to see what games we've covered so far, there's a link available in the description below. And as always, don't get in too much trouble when you say, "Not now, Mom. I'm gaming."